And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of Political Pulse. Today, as we are on the air speaking, multiple Democrats have resurged the Dump Biden movement, and overall, 41 Democrats currently in office have called on the president to drop out, and it's being reported that he could make a decision in the coming days on his candidacy, the future of his candidacy. All today on this episode of Political Pulse.
My fellow Americans, our movement is far from over. In fact, our fight has only just begun. We will make America great again.
I know how to get things done. I know, like millions of Americans know, when you get knocked down, you get back up.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Again, welcome to Political Pulse. This is our third episode in the series overall, our fifth, if you count the live streams, honestly. I am your host, LPP, Lego Plus Presidency here. As you can see, I have an avatar of Donald Trump when he was in The Apprentice. Yeah. So, we're talking today because as we are on the air, multiple Democrats have resurged the Dump Biden movement, it's what I call it, in the last 2 days, after it quieted down when Trump's assassination attempt occurred last Saturday. And now we have more Democrats that are calling on the president to step aside from the job. And it's honestly stunning. Let me share my screen. Show the list. So, according to Wikipedia, overall, 4 U.S. senators, current, and 37 House Democrats who are currently in office have called on President Biden to step aside in this presidential race. The senators list includes new senators that have called on the president to drop out. Peter Welch, he called on President Biden to drop out last week. That was before the assassination attempt, the tragic event that occurred in Pennsylvania last Saturday occurred. Thankful that he is still alive, President Trump, that he's still alive. Then yesterday, during the RNC, Jon Tester released a statement calling on President Biden to drop out. Jon Tester is one of the most vulnerable Democrats to lose his Senate seat this election cycle in Ruby Red, Montana. And just today, Martin Heinrich, a senator from the senior senator from the state of New Mexico, has called on the president to step aside for the best of the country. And apparently at some point this week, or last week, I guess, Chuck Schumer, the Senate majority leader, the majority leader for his party in the United States Senate, President Biden's party in the Senate, told Biden, apparently according to ABC News, on Wednesday, it would be best to end his candidacy. I mean, when you have top Democratic leaders like Chuck Schumer telling you to step aside, you should listen. You should listen to him. Because if the top rank and file officials of the Democratic Party are calling on the president to step aside, this is serious. That's something you need to pay attention to, honestly. And then we have 37 House Democrats overall who oppose President Biden's campaign. This is Earl Blumenauer, Ed Case, Kathy Castor, Jim Costa, Sean Casten, Angie Craig, Lloyd Doggett. He was the first Democrat to call on the president to step aside. Chuy Garcia, this is today, I believe. Mary Perez, she has called on the president to drop out and resign. And Jared Golden has told CNN that he knows that Joe Biden will lose and Donald Trump will be president, and that he'll be okay with that. And Raul Gravalla of Arizona was the second Democrat to call on him to drop out. Jim Himes, Jared Huffman, Greg Landsman, Mike Levin, Zoe Lofgren. This is today, I believe. Again, another Democrat, I believe, that has called on him to step aside today. And Betty McCollum, Joe Morrell, Seth Moulton, Scott Peters, Brittany Peterson, Dean Phillips, well, this says ran against Biden in the primaries, later endorsed him. But he would call on Joe Biden to drop out, I believe. Mark Pocan, Mike Quigley, Jamie Raskin. Now, Jamie Raskin, as you remember, he served on the January 6th committee. And he's one of the very well-known Democrats in the House of Representatives. Pat Ryan and Adam Schiff will discuss his calling on Biden to drop out later in this video. Brad Schneider, Hillary Schulten, Mikey Sherrill, Adam Smith, Eric Sorensen, Greg Stanton, Mark Tacanto, I believe that's what it is. Rashid Tlaib obviously supported the protest vote in the primaries, has not called on President Biden to drop out. And Mark Beasley and Susan Wild. Now, I remember the name Susan Wild because I remember on one of my streams, I remember I was filling out a map of a House prediction on 270towin.com, and she was listed as one of the more vulnerable Democrats this election cycle in Pennsylvania. We have statewide officials as well. Ned Lamont indirectly called on President Biden to step aside because it says Connecticut's Lamont appears to become the first governor to turn on Biden. Of course, Rod Blagojevich. We know Rod Blagojevich. He was the governor of Illinois. He attempted to sell Barack Obama's Senate seat after Obama was elected president. Got arrested for that, impeached, and removed from office as governor. Antonio Delgado, the lieutenant governor of New York, has also called on President Biden to drop out. We have lots of notable officials, including George Clooney, who held a fundraiser with Biden not too long ago. Stephen Colbert, one of the late-night comics, one of the anti-Trump late-night comics. John Cusack, John Cusack, and Abigail Disney, the heiress to the Disney family, the Disney Corporation overall. Mia Farrow, Van Jones, who, he was very pro-Biden, very anti-Trump on CNN. You had people like Ashley Judd, Stephen King, and a whole bunch of other people calling on the president's step side. Bill Maher, another late-night comic. All these people, including TPC's love interest, Marianne Williamson. Yeah. Honestly, I've never seen, it seems like the Democratic Party has never been this divided ever since 1968. And, our country, hasn't been this divided since the American Civil War. It's a true thing. And today, former President Barack Obama, well, he didn't say anything publicly, but Reuters.com is reporting that former President Barack Obama, and as you know, Joe Biden was his VP. has told his allies that Biden needs to reconsider his reelection bid. And if this reporting is true, again, this is serious. I mean, that's like what I was talking about with Chuck Schumer earlier, about this being serious. I mean, top Democratic officials like Barack Obama, Chuck Schumer, all the top Democrats in Congress are saying that he needs to step aside. When they say that he needs to step aside, he needs to listen, because they are top rank and file officials. People that people in this country recognize and know. I mean, he should listen to the top members of his party. And back to what I was saying earlier about Adam Schiff dropping out of this race. Not Adam Schiff dropping out, excuse me. Adam Schiff calling on Joe Biden to drop out. So on Meet the Press, I believe it was this past Sunday or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think it was this week. That he said that Joe Biden that he believed that Joe Biden could win, but if polling showed otherwise, that he needed to pass the torch. And then he said that Kamala Harris would make a good replacement, a good president. So that was Sunday. And then on Wednesday, he said to the entire media that that Biden should step aside, and that he had serious concerns about his ability to beat Trump in November. As y'all know, Adam Schiff, he's very anti-Trump, as y'all know. And he was on the January 6th committee, investigated Trump for the Russia collusion thing, which we know now turned out to be sort of a hoax in a way. And now he's running for United States Senate, running for Dianne Feinstein's seat, the late Dianne Feinstein's seat, I might add, because she passed away not too long ago. All these Democrats going after him. And Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi, Crazy Nancy, as we all know her from Donald Trump. According to CNN, she has told Biden privately, and this was, I believe, yesterday, privately told Biden, polls show he cannot win and will take down the House. This is almost insane coming from the first woman Speaker of the House, who had tremendous influence in the Democratic Party as well. And, last week on Morning Joe, before the assassination attempt on former President Trump, we have one of our analysts join. Welcome to the show.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Welcome. So we are talking about how the clock is ticking for President Biden today.
Oh, yeah, I assume he'll drop out by, Sunday.
Yeah, and so I'm talking about how reportedly many Democrats... Oh!
Actually, I brought my microphone to my hotel room because I knew he was going to drop out, so I have to make a video on it.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So as I was saying, might as well share my entire screen. All right, so I was talking about how all these Democrats, reportedly, like Obama, Pelosi, and Schumer. Hold on. Well, let me see. Schumer, yep, he's on the list. Reportedly are calling on Biden to reconsider his bid.
I mean, yeah, when you've got Pelosi, Schumer, Jeffries, and Obama all telling you to drop out, those are basically the four most important Democrats in the entire country. So,
The four
I mean,
most
when
important Democrats.
oh yeah, aside
And
from Biden, of
when
course.
and when rank and file Democrats who are high officials in the party are calling you to drop out, you should listen.
Oh yeah. The thing I find most ironic is that it seems like the only people that are actually sticking by his side at this point are
Is
actually the
Jim
progressives.
Clyburn. The only person that's standing by his side at this point is Jim Clyburn.
Oh yeah, and the progressives, because like
Yeah.
you didn't want them to come out in support of removing him immediately, but he's it's kind of like a win-win for them, where if Biden loses, then in 2028 they get to nominate a progressive, and if Biden wins, then he said in like his first 100 days of office in his second term, he'll be a lot more progressive. So it's a win-win for them. I still
Yeah.
think they should say he should drop out, but
Yeah.
it's kind of ironic.
It's kind of ironic, honestly. And I can't tell you how many times when I see Jim Clyburn on the television, ever since this news of Democrats calling on Biden to drop out, you don't know how many times I hear him say in an interview, "I'm riding
What?
with Biden."
Oh yeah. Oh wait, one sec.
Oh, okay. It's honestly kind of funny, the phrase "riding with Biden." And so, as we know, yesterday, Jon Tester had called on Biden to drop out. This wasn't during the RNC when I found out about this, that Jon Tester called on Joe Biden to drop out. And all I can say is Tester is literally done with Biden. That's a shout out to our buddy Tester is done out there. Oh, apparently Tester was here. Oh well. Is what it is, I guess. And today we have 10 Democrats, including Pelosi allies, that have called on President Biden to drop out of the race. According to NBC, the number of Biden defectors on Capitol Hill now stands at more than 30, or more than 10% of the Democratic caucuses in the House and the Senate. And this is the highest number on today of Democrats that I believe have called on President Biden to drop out in a day. It's stunning. Let's see. So that we had Martin Heinrich, Jon Tester. I already told y'all about that. And the latest Biden defections include Mark Veazey became the first member of the Congressional Black Caucus, whose leaders campaigned with Biden in Nevada to call on him to bow out. Bow out, yippee yo, yippee yo, yippee yo. That's the funniest thing. Oh, we lost one of our analysts, sadly. Okay. So VC and three other Democrats, Jared Huffman, Chuy Garcia, Mark Belkin, they issued a joint statement today calling on President Biden to drop out. Then they appreciated Biden's decades of public service, but saying it is now time for the 82-year-old president to step aside, pass the torch, to give Democrats the best chance of beating Donald Trump in November. And now let me just say this, number one. Now at this point, it doesn't seem like no Democrat will beat Donald Trump in November. It seems like that now. And welcome back, Sammy.
Thank you.
And
I actually honestly beg to differ. I think all Democrats who aren't really Joe Biden are heavily underestimated, personally, because I mean, what does Joe Biden really have going for him except for incumbency? Aside from that, I really think that like these more charismatic, younger Democrats who can actually form a complete sentence, could actually do a lot better. And I think they only poll lower right now because voters just don't know them yet, especially with Kamala
Yeah.
Harris. She's out of the public eye for 4 years. I think if they do win the nomination, if they have some ads airing for them, if they do a debate, I said do, then I think that they could actually pose a decent threat, even Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we need new Democrats as our nominees. I mean, we got to pass the torch eventually.
Absolutely.
I
Biden
mean, that's
said
why
he was the bridge between the old and the young.
I mean,
Where's that?
that's why I support Nikki Haley in the Republican primaries, because she presented a new bridge of change in this country, like a new age for politicians, like, to pass the torch. That's why
Yeah.
I support her in the first place. So as I was saying, I was telling about the 3 Democrats that issued the joint statement today, praising President Biden for his decades of service, but saying it's time to pass the torch. And who else? Who else is called on the president's side? AOC has been urging Democrats not to dump Biden, which is surprising because I thought that she would be one of those kinds of Democrats that would call on the president to step aside.
Oh yeah.
And now we have some allies of Speaker Emerita Pelosi. Zoe Lofgren, not too long ago, like maybe less than an hour ago, released a statement that she had sent to President Biden last night. And it says, in it, Lofgren mentioned her work on the House January 6th committee, warned that Donald Trump remains a grave threat to constitutional order and rule of law, that he was on January 6, 2001, when he incited insurrection. We must face the reality that widespread public concerns about your age and fitness are jeopardizing what should be a winning campaign. These perceptions may not be fair, but they have hardened in the aftermath of last month's debate and are now unlikely to change. We believe the most responsible and patriotic thing you can do in this moment is to step aside as our nominee while continuing to lead our party from the White House. Democrats have a deep, I'm not sure this is continuing the statements. Yep, it is. Democrats have a deep and talented bench of younger leaders led by Vice President Kamala Harris. Excuse me, I'm getting a whole bunch of notifications on my phone. Excuse me. Who you have lifted up, empowered, and prepared for this moment. Passing the torch would fundamentally change the trajectory of this campaign. It will reinvigorate the race and infuse Democrats with enthusiasm and momentum heading into our convention next month. I mean, it wouldn't be filled with enthusiasm. I mean, if he does drop out, we'd have like maybe 10, maybe 15 candidates in the race for the nomination at this point.
I mean, the leak we saw from a couple sources showed that it was going to be like the main ones in like the open primary would be Kamala Harris and 3 others. So I'm assuming like Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, and someone else. I think the main fight between like big Democrats would be for vice president.
Yeah. I mean, Kamala Harris is mostly favored for the presidential nomination if Biden drops out.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, we have more progressive Democrats that would think otherwise, or like more moderate Democrats that would think otherwise, like Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And let me tell you. So I believe it was When did Biden test positive for COVID? Oh yeah, that was
That was like 2
Wednesday,
days
I
ago.
think. That was like
Yeah.
Wednesday. So I remember on the 16th, on Tuesday, that Biden said to his donors in a campaign event that he would only drop out if a medical emergency occurred. And the next day, tested positive for COVID.
That almost sounds like fate, honestly. Like the sheer coincidence of that. Wow.
Sheer coincidence that it was honestly kind of funny, honestly.
And you see he's been moving the goalpost. At first he was like, I'll drop out if like if my advisors tell me that I can't win. And then he moved it to I'll drop out if I have a health condition. Like he's moving it further and further so that he doesn't lose the nomination.
Yeah, and at this point, he's ruining his campaign further and further.
Oh yeah.
His campaign is slowly going down, straight into the depths of hell, depths of political oblivion.
Oh yeah.
And he'll continue down that road unless he does something to prove to the American people that he is okay.
Honestly, at this
That he's
point, I
not
don't
too
even
old.
know what that could be.
Honestly, don't know. But
Because the next debate is in like September.
and that's a long time away.
Oh yeah.
Unless Donald Trump and Joe Biden agree to a debate before that debate in September, like maybe at some point in August, right after the DNC, I guess. But because I know after J.D. Vance was announced as the VP and Kamala Harris tried to get him to debate her and set a date for the debate, the Trump campaign responded, they don't know who the Democratic nominee is going to be, or who the Democratic vice presidential nominee is going to be.
That was
And
fun.
they'll wait until after the convention to figure out a date
Yeah.
for a debate. And
I
so
mean,
that's like,
and like even then, like if it's right after the DNC, I doubt Biden would do any better. It's become clear that it wasn't just an off night. It wasn't just a sore throat. It wasn't just a stutter. Those were like cover-ups for the actual underlying issue that Joe Biden is mentally declining. And
And-
just waiting a bit to do like a second debate isn't really going to help him. And if they try and advise him too much, he might like fall apart even more from being over-prepared.
and basically all the members of the White House staff, the First Lady, Karine Jean-Pierre, pulled off the biggest cover-up in American history until
Actually,
June 27th.
I think it's honestly impossible to know who actually knew that he was falling apart. I mean, obviously Joe Biden knew, but aside from her, I genuinely don't know. Like, maybe it was so like closed doors that even his top advisors didn't know.
Yeah. And I saw this report like last week before the assassination attempt on President Trump that Hunter Biden has been taking Joe's place in some classified meetings.
What? Where'd you see that?
I saw that on Fox News. They were
They
were talking about that on some Fox show. I believe it was the Five or whatever.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know.
That makes sense.
But they're saying that Hunter Biden has been taking Joe's place in classified meetings, doing the work for him, taking the place. And let me tell you,
I kind of doubt that. Like, would they really let their coke addicted son attend classified meetings?
Convicted son as well.
Yeah, like why would they do that? And it would fuck up their campaign if it got out, which it clearly did, unless Fox News is just making this up, which I wouldn't put it past them.
Well, there's some report on it. I'll find it later. But I tell you, do you think Jill Biden is power hungry? Not Joe Biden, Jill Biden.
I think she's just really delusional. Like, maybe she wants to be like Edith Wilson, the story of Woodrow Wilson, how he had a stroke in his last 2 years.
Yeah.
And he basically became president.
And that was before vice presidential succession.
Yeah,
How that before that happened,
and before the
long
25th
before that
Amendment,
happened actually.
like
And
1921.
if I
So
remember correctly, Wilson's vice president was dead around that time. Died in office
maybe he
around that time.
was. I don't know.
I'll
But
search
like,
that. Hold on.
but they didn't have the 25th Amendment, so you weren't even allowed to remove a president from office. Like it
Exactly.
would cause a constitutional crisis.
Yes. Oh wait, no. Wilson's vice president wasn't dead when that happened. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know
even
why I
then,
thought that.
if Wilson didn't die or resign, it would be impossible for his vice president to take office without
Yeah.
him getting impeached.
Yeah.
But like there's a chance she wants to be like Edith Wilson, but I think the more likely version is that she's just extremely delusional and thinks that, I mean, she knew Biden was mentally declining. So maybe she just like thought it was like I don't know. Like maybe she just loved Joe so much that he wanted him to have his she wanted him to have his dream of being president for 2 terms. But eh, I don't see why
Um.
you'd lie to the American people for that.
Well.
You know?
Have you ever heard of the play Macbeth?
Oh yeah,
Well, in this case, Jill Biden is basically Lady Macbeth,
yeah.
abusing her husbands so they can both have political power.
I mean, I wouldn't say she's that like maniacal. She certainly
Look
could
at
be that way. We just don't know. We don't even know how many people knew that he was mentally declining.
Yeah, I remember at the night after the debate when Joe and Jill were addressing a crowd, and Jill was telling Joe, "You did a great job, Joe. You answered every question. You did so good. Good job."
But did he though?
Talking to she was basically talking to him as if he was 5.
Oh yeah,
It was
he's gonna
so
have his
funny.
big boy press conference.
Big boy press conference
Yeah.
where he picked
Crazy.
Vice President Trump as his running mate.
And then later when he told voters to go to the battle box twice.
The battle box.
Oh, that's awesome.
And when we were on Tester Stream last night, Sammy,
Yeah.
that the Hill was reporting that Joe Biden is going to reportedly making a major announcement about the future of his campaign in the coming days, like right
Yeah.
after the RNC concludes.
hmm And like at that point, I don't even know, like what else it could be. Could it be like I have a huge announcement? I'm staying in the race. You know,
It
like
can't be that.
what else
And
would it be?
Some Democrats are saying that Biden could possibly drop out by this weekend, possibly Sunday.
Yeah, that's what I predict. I brought my microphone to this hotel because I know that like realistically, if he's gonna drop out, it'll probably be as soon as possible. So like this Sunday.
Yeah.
My
And
question with what the Hill reported is the Kamala Harris shortlist for vice president.
oh yeah,
They picked
because
everyone.
they were talking about Mark
They picked
Kelly.
everyone
Andy Beshear.
except Josh Shapiro.
There was Mark Kelly, Andy Beshear, and who else? Roy Cooper.
They're so brain dead. I mean,
They're so
Roy
branded.
Roy Cooper could do pretty good. He could probably win them Georgia and North Carolina, but I mean, plus Kamala Harris is black. But come on,
Oh my
Josh
God.
Shapiro would basically like gift them a win by giving them Pennsylvania, and by that extension, probably Michigan as well. So they'd only need to win like one more state, whether it's Georgia, Wisconsin, or Arizona, to carry the election. You know, I don't know why.
Exactly.
I don't know why he wouldn't be in the shortlist.
Yeah. And along with that reporting from the Hill, a White House official told either, I believe it was ABC or NBC, I believe, that, quote, we're close to the end of this
Oh
campaign.
God. Oh yeah, and then there was that report saying like he asked an advisor like, could Kamala win the election? That's like what I asked my mom before I asked to stay home from school. You know, it's Jover. It's so Jover.
Yeah, it's so Jover. I mean,
It's like he gave up.
his inner circle is falling apart. His political
Mhm.
circle is falling apart by the minute.
Who else does he have aside from Jill?
Aside from Jill, he has Jim
Jim Clyburn.
Clyburn,
And
basically all the progressives in the House.
but they're not really for him. They're just doing
They're
it for
not
their
really
own
for
gain.
him. They're just,
Yeah.
and basically, I believe every vulnerable Democrat in the House will probably still support him, or in a way to boost their campaigns, calling him to drop out,
Like what John Tester did.
like what John Tester did. I mean, John Tester is one of the most vulnerable Democrats to lose his seat.
The second most.
In this, yep, one of the most viable senators to lose his seat. I think that's it. I forget the word. I'm having a Biden moment. Most vulnerable senators to lose his seat, and he really needed a boost
Mhm.
to win.
And this could really give it to him, honestly.
And John Tester in the past, his past elections, he's always won very narrowly.
Mhm.
Like, I think he's the second senator, other than Lisa Murkowski, to win election to the Senate 3 times under 50% of the vote.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's insane, honestly. It shows you how divided Montana is. I mean, yeah. Montana is a ruby red state, and they elect John Tester, a Democrat, one of the most moderate Democrats in the Senate, 3 times in a row.
What's most surprising is it's the Senate. Like, you know, in Kansas they elect Laura Kelly, in Louisiana they elect John Bel Edwards, but that's because it's for governor, which is a lot less partisan of a seat.
Well, Edwards in Louisiana, he was more of a conservative Democrat, so he attracted Democrats and Republicans.
He was a pro-life Democrat. I think like the last notable one in the entire
Democrat.
country.
Very few pro-life Democrats in the Democratic Party. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, to be honest, the Democratic Party, in my mind, I don't believe has been this divided since 1968. I don't believe they've been this divided since the American Civil War. Well, our country hasn't been this divided since the American Civil War. It's honestly crazy how things could turn out in the coming days and weeks.
Oh yeah, like it's bad.
We could have Joe Biden drop out on Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Then we have all these Democrats: Harris, Newsom, Whitmer, possibly Michelle Obama, maybe.
Fuck no.
No.
There's no way.
Oh, 3 to 2 weeks ago, I think, that Michelle Obama would beat Donald Trump by 11 points.
Oh, she would destroy him.
50% to 39.
The problem is, like, she does not want to run. She's the main reason Barack Obama. She was like the main critic of Barack Obama running for president. You know. She just really would not want to do that, and she wouldn't even do that good. Like 98% of these candidates, I think, would do better after a debate by showing themselves and showing that they're not Joe Biden. But she would actually do worse, I think, because she's not a politician, which could help certain people like Donald Trump. However, for her, she was just, the first lady. She knew some issues, but she's not well trained in politics and the issues enough to do well in a debate. I think she would fall apart.
Yeah. Besides, if Michelle Obama were president, we'd all be eating vegetables every day.
Oh god.
So she had this whole initiative when she was first lady.
Ruined my school
About to
lunches.
get vegetables in kids' lunches in public schools.
It was bad, bro.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the end of our episode today. We are going to end it here, and if news does break of a certain president dropping out of this race, we will be back possibly this weekend. But if not, if that news turns out to be false, we will be back next Friday. Thank you all for joining. LPP here, signing off.